How's it going? Mark Monday for ESPN.com with Jack Hermansson, who is in the co-main event of UFC Fight Night on July 18th against Kelvin Gastelum. That fight, of course, will be on Fight Island, Abu Dhabi. Jack, how are things? It's been a little while since we spoke to you. What's life like right now during this weird time in Norway?
Yeah, it's getting better and better. Things are opening up, and you feel a little bit more free now than a couple of weeks ago. So uh, it has been a little bit of a special time, but it's been the same for everybody. So we got to cope with it, and I feel like I have been keeping my training going pretty well anyway, and I feel in shape and prepared.
Were you in Oslo the entire time? Did you go back to Sweden at all, or were you just in Oslo?
No, just in Oslo. They were like this. If you were traveling to Sweden, then you need to quarantine yourself if you go back and so on. So that make it harder. So I stayed here for the whole time.
Gotcha. And how? I mean, were gyms closed there? I know. I mean, everyone. The UFC is so unique because there are athletes, of course, from all over the planet, and every country, every city, every county kind of did things differently. Kind of some places were open, some places were closed. What was it like for you? And was training difficult during the last few months?
Yeah, the gyms were closed. So my gym from Plan Academy were closed, and the training center where I do strength and conditioning were closed. So I did a lot of outdoors training. Fortunately, we had pretty good weather, so a lot of outdoors training with my coaches and some pad works and a lot of hill sprints and other stuff that you can do outside. So we just need to be a little bit creative, and yeah, we made it happen.
So you have the fight against Kelvin Gastelum. It's your first fight since you lost last year to Jared Cannonier. Before that, you were on a 4-fight winning streak. It was looking really good for you, possibly a title shot if you were to beat Cannonier. Definitely in the mix for that. So, I mean, how big is this Gastelum fight to try to get back on track for you?
It's huge. I feel like that's the right fight to do right now. We are ranked next to each other, and yeah, if I win against Gastelum, it will point me in the right direction, back towards that title shot. So it means a lot to me, and yeah, we gotta make it happen.
How do you see the division kind of shaping out right now? Because it seems like Israel Adesanya will be defending the title against Paulo Costa at some point in the next few months. We don't really know when yet. So what does that mean for you guys and the rest of the division? And how do you see the rest of like the contendership kind of shaping up?
It's super exciting right now. We have as you mentioned there, Alexandria Costa must happen, and then you have Till Whitaker is gonna happen,
Hmm.
and then you have poor Cannonier in the mix there that has to be waiting for a fight as well. I think he's coming off a shoulder injury, so maybe that was good for him to have some weight, but. Yeah, those guys are up there as well, so we'll have to see how those fights plays out, and where I will fit in the mix after this one.
You were initially supposed to fight Chris Weidman, of course, in the main event of that card in Oklahoma City. Of course, that, like many things, got canceled due to COVID-19. Is this almost a better situation for you? Chris Weidman, of course, former champion, phenomenal fighter, probably future Hall of Famer, but Gastelum right now, a little bit higher in the middleweight pecking order.
Yeah, definitely. I was very happy with the turnaround, and I think this was the better fight, and a fight I actually asked for before I was getting the Weidman fight. So it's perfect. So yeah, the cancellation of that fight turned out to be something good. So I'm happy with that.
It's crazy how that worked out, right? Because you were supposed to fight in the arena in Oklahoma City, and that ended up kind of being like ground zero for COVID-19 in the NBA, where that NBA player tested positive. And were you following that at all? Or were you like wondering what the heck was going on from Europe?
Yeah, definitely. I was, trying to figure out: am I gonna fight at all? Is something gonna happen here? Are the UFC gonna get this going and so on? But I could feel it a little bit all the time that something's gonna go wrong here. This is probably not gonna happen. But I tried to stay focused and training and so on. But yeah, I wasn't shocked when they canceled the fight.
So now, of course, the locale is Abu Dhabi, Fight Island. What are your thoughts on that? Because people are saying it's going to be very hot, of course, during the day. It's July in Abu Dhabi. The fights are going to be, in the middle of the night or very early in the morning because it's going to be on in prime time in the United States. So what are your thoughts about fighting on Fight Island?
It's gonna be cool. I'm looking forward to see the setup, and it has a lot of hype behind it now. So it's gonna be really interesting to watch that first show go off and see how people feel and what people say after the event. But since you mentioned that it's gonna be early in the morning probably, and that means it's probably not that hot as it's gonna be in the middle of the day. So I guess that's good. So I think we will cope with it. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the Adesanya versus Romero fight, and it feels like it was so long ago because of everything that's gone on in the world since March. But it was the big fight in the division. I mean, arguably even before your fight, this was the last big fight in the division. What were your thoughts on that fight? It was a very strange fight, not the typical Israel Adesanya performance. What were your takeaways from that title fight?
I gotta be a little bit tough with Joel Romero there because he got a couple of shots on that title, and I can't understand how he can be so restrictive and yeah, passive when you got that chance one more time. You gotta go in there and take it. I understand Issy's point. That he's you see that all the time when people get champs, they get a little bit more cautious. They want to keep that title, they want to take too much risks. And obviously, as we saw with Anderson Silva back in the days, and so on, sometimes when you have like counter fighters, then nobody want to go in there. And now we have two counter fighters, and nobody want to take that step to and take the risk. And that's what we saw. But I got to blame Romero a little bit extra on that one.
When you're watching that fight as someone who is a top contender in that division, what's going through your head? Are you saying like, just, get me in there? I'm Jack the Joker. I can go out there and put on a show.
Definitely. I'm longing to get that shot, and it's always easy to be on the outside and say that you could do it better. But yeah, when it's my time, I'm gonna make something will happen in there. I'm not gonna just stand there and wait for the other guy to fight.
Do you think it's possible that you would be next in line if you beat Gastelum after Costa, after the Adesanya Costa fight? Is it possible to get that shot, or do you think that maybe someone's ahead of you? Maybe Cannonier. He's still injured though,
Yeah.
so it's so hard to say.
Yeah, it definitely it depends on what happens with all the other guys. Are there going to be injuries? Are people needing time off for other reasons and so on? Because there are definitely some other guys in line there. So you never know, but I reckon that somebody else is going to get the shot before me.
And how do you see Adesanya and Costa playing out? It seems like a very interesting fight. I think it'll probably be, safe to say, much different than Adesanya versus Romero. Is that fair?
Yeah, Costa is just like a train, man. He just goes forward, and that's gonna be something. That's gonna be something to behold. And I'm looking forward to it. I even give Costa a small edge in that one. I think it's going to be really hard for Adesanya to handle that pressure. He might catch him on the way in, but I think Adesanya is more comfortable having a little bit the distance between him and his opponent, and Costa don't give you that. He just goes forward and tries to bring you down. So if you're gonna stop that, you probably have to bring him down. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fireworks.
You think he could finish Costa possibly? You think Costa could finish Adesanya?
Yeah, I really think so. He could probably finish anyone.
Fair. Did the fight against Romero kind of like did Adesanya lose stock in your eyes in some ways in that fight?
No, not at all. I think he's a wizard. He's awesome and one of the most skilled fighters out there. It's just like I feel like a fighter with like Costa, he's not gonna allow Adesanya's brilliance to shine as much because he's gonna ruin that with his pressure style. But it's not that I don't give Adesanya because he's really really good, but I do small edge because I think Adesanya is a really really great fighter. But you know, I still have some questions to how good is his ground game. So that's something that I would like to test if I was fighting with him.
Do you think Costa could take him down? You think that's possible?
Definitely, but I'm not sure that he will. I don't know. I don't think he will do it, but maybe if he gets rocked or something like that, you know, then we will shoot for a takedown. But I don't think that's what we will see.
So that it isn't so much that you don't think Adesanya is a great champion. You just think that Costa at this point in time could be better, or you know, could be a bad matchup for Izzy.
Yeah, style wise, I think it's a tough matchup.
And last thing I want to ask you about, Jack, and thanks again for taking the time out. The Rob Whitaker Darren Till fight. I think you had mentioned that as well earlier. It's the main event later on in the month on July 25th. Thoughts on that fight? That's also a big middleweight fight. Till's coming off, of course, you know, a big win and is after moving up from welterweight. Thoughts on that fight, Whitaker versus Till?
Super interesting fight. Two great stand-up fighters. It's going to be interesting to see the shape and the hunger Robert has. And I think Till is going to be super motivated now to get towards that title. So, but I feel like if Robert Whitaker comes with the best that he can be, I'll give him a small edge in that one as well. You know, he was a champ for some time and the defending champ. So I think he is great. But it's going to be a really interesting matchup and yeah, enjoyable one.
What do you think that fight looks like? It is very intriguing. Obviously, both strikers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Till will, you know, Whitaker, he's gonna try to close distance with his attacks, his combinations, and Till will probably look for the counter strikes. It's gonna be really interesting because Till kind of likes to go forward and provoke the counters, but Whitaker is really really good because he puts several punches and kicks together, and it's hard to counter. So it's gonna be interesting one.
Do you think the winner of that fight could be maybe in your future as a contender fight?
That would be a perfect contender fight. Yeah, I would love that to happen.
Any preference as to which one you'd want to fight? Darren,
It's
Rob?
hard. It's really hard. You know, Whitaker because he's a former champ. I'm a big fan of his, but Till he's a funny dude, man. He seems so fun to be around. He's a great character. So that would be nice to you know, building up to the fight and so on to fight him as well.
He'll probably put his face like on your face if you guys fought, like the meme that he's been doing. Have you seen this? It's the craziest thing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
For a few days, I was like looking at every photo online, like, wait, is that Darren Till's face or is that someone else? I couldn't, like, I had to like squint, like, wait, he was. I was like tripping out because of Darren Till's social media. He's been like the king, of quarantine on social media, keeping us all laughing.
Exactly.
But that would be good. The Joker versus the king of quarantine. That would be a fantastic matchup.
Perfect.